Hello, welcome to my garden. So today I'm going to be planting the first of my summer bulbs. I'm going to be planting Gladiolus. They make the most striking cut flowers and the bees love them too and the sheep love them. I have sheep here behind my garden, so excuse the baaing. As I was saying, bees really love them, and they flower right through from July right into September. You can start planting them in mid to late spring. So Gladiolus come in corms, and the ones I'm going to be growing today are called Black Sea, and they're this amazing deep dark ruby velvet-like flowers, and I think they're going to contrast really nicely with the lime coloured leaves on this euphorbia here. And I'm also going to be planting one out called Lumiere, which has beautiful rich pink and lilac flowers on it, so that's going to be really pretty in this border. So Gladiolus, they flower about 3 months after planting, so in order to get a nice staggered effect of flowers all the way through the summer season, you can actually stagger the planting of the corms, and so plant them like in groups every 2 to 3 weeks and right up to the end of May. And if you're growing in a container, you can do it like a lasagna and just plant some deeper than other ones, and then the deeper ones will take a bit longer to grow and flower. And they're best planted in nice groups like 5, 7 or 9, so it has more impact. So you want to plant a nice deep hole because they have very long stalks. Some of them can get as tall as a metre, metre and a half. And so you want to make sure that they're really well rooted into the ground so they don't get toppled over. So corms have got a curved base to them and a pointy shoot at the top. So that's at the top and it goes that way. And so I've dug a hole about 15 centimetres and then you just pop it in. You want to plant them about 10 centimetres apart. You can do them a bit closer if they're in a pot for more impact. And I have very sandy soil, so I don't need to put any extra grit in, but because these plants are from South Africa, they do like good drainage but also plenty of moisture. So you want a good quality soil but with good drainage. So if you have very heavy clay soil, you could put a layer of about 5 centimetres of grit along the base of your holes or your trench if you're planting more of them, and that will give them plenty of drainage. And then a pot, definitely put some grit in amongst your compost. And in the summertime you want to make sure you keep them moist, so from the moment you plant them right through the summer, make sure you give them plenty of water. They don't want to be waterlogged, but they do want to keep their moisture levels good. Now many varieties of gladioli can get really quite tall, like a metre, metre and a half, so they'll need some kind of support in the summertime, like bamboo canes or some string. And you don't want to tie them too tightly, but just enough to give them a bit of help. And just make sure when you put the bamboo canes in the soil that you put them to the side of where the corms are, that you don't damage them. And then come winter time, most gladiolus, bit of a mouthful, most of them are sort of half hardy. So if you live in a fairly mild area where you don't get really strong winters, you can just put a nice thick layer of mulch over the top of them and leave them in your soil. But if you're in an area where it gets like worse than -10 degrees centigrade, or you've got really heavy wet clay soil, then I would lift them up. Otherwise you can just leave them in with a layer of mulch. But if you're going to lift them up, just dig out the corms, chop off the foliage once it's died down, and then store in a frost-free area where there's a lot of ventilation, like in those mesh bags that bulbs often come in, and you can just hang that up in a frost-free area until the spring and then plant them back out again. Now there is one gladioli that is an exception to the frost hardiness rule, and it's a new one to me this year. I haven't grown this before, but I'm really excited because it's so beautiful. It's got lovely little white domed flower heads with a deep violet middle, and they're apparently really scented. These are definitely not frost hardy, so they're probably best planted in pots, and then you can just bring the pots in the winter and then bring them back out again in the springtime. They flower from August to October, so they're a lovely late summer flowering plant for when so many are over. And but if you do plant them out in your border, you can just dig them up in the autumn and store them as with other gladioli if you're needing to do that. So I'm really looking forward to these. But in the meantime, enjoy planting your gladioli and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.